Honorable members, there seems to be a serious challenge with quorum this morning. I direct that the bell be rung for 10 minutes.
Well, the fourth chairperson of committees, Honorable Farah Maalim, has ordered for the quorum bell to be rung for 10 minutes, of course, to allow members who are yet to get into the chambers to be able to make it to the chambers for the morning session. As you can see already at the entrance, Kamukunji, Member of Parliament, is there walking in. So members are expected, of course, to get into the chambers to enable the House commence its business, as is in the standing orders that the House cannot commence its business unless the quorum of the House is achieved. The first quorum bell will be rung for 10 minutes. And if the quorum of the House is achieved before the lapse of the 10 minutes, then the Speaker may call the House to order and commence the business of the day. But if at the lapse of the 10 minutes there is still no quorum, the Speaker will order for another quorum bell of 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes should be able to allow members to also get into the chamber to enable the House reach its quorum. So currently is a quorum bell at the commencement of the House, 10 minutes, members to be able to get into the chambers. So this morning, the legislative proposal to amend the Constitution under Standing Order 114.7a by the member for Gishugu, Honorable Gishimu Githinji, and member for Matungulu, Honorable Stephen Mule, to make statements on the legislative proposal to amend the Constitution to entrench the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the Economic Stimulus and Empowerment Fund in the Constitution, is also lined up for debate. Already debate on this particular legislative proposal kicked off, but today's debate will be a resumption of a debate that was interrupted on Tuesday of November 8th, the year 2022. So members who may have not been able to ventilate on this particular legislative proposal by the two members of the National Assembly, then they can get time this morning to be able to air their opinions on this constitutional amendment or rather legislative proposal by the two members. The member for Seme, Honorable James Nyikala, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 225, he will be presenting a petition seeking compensation for Nyanza, Western Kenya caucus of internally displaced person. The member for Seme, Honorable James Nyikala, will be presenting a petition pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 225, seeking compensation for Nyanza, Western Kenya caucus of internally displaced persons. And the member for Mandera South, Honorable Abdul Haro, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42A, subsection 5, he will be asking questions that will be replied before specified committee. This question will be going to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, and the member will be seeking the CS to state whether the Cabinet Secretary could provide the measures that the government has put in place to ensure that residents of Mandera County are able to acquire important government documents, including national identification cards and passports, without undue delays caused by lengthy bureaucratic procedures. The member will again be posing a question to the CS to explain the measures that the government has put in place to address the unwarranted delays in vetting of persons applying for passports in Mandera County. These two questions will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Affairs. Honorable Ambokomi Lemba has entered the chambers. As you can see, members are slowly trickling into the chambers. The quorum bell is still underway. It's a 10-minute quorum bell that is on to give time for members who have not yet gotten to the chambers for this morning session to be able to get into the chambers. And once the 10-minute quorum bell lapses, another 5-minute quorum bell will be granted to the members. But of course, if the quorum of the House has not been achieved to enable the House commence its business. This morning, the member for Teso North, Honorable Oku Kaunya, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection to explain the circumstances that led to the dismissal of Mr. Gabriel Akimwanari Obasie, holder of identity card that has been returned there from the National Industrial Training Authority on 19th February 2022. Again, whether the Cabinet Secretary could indicate when the officer will be reinstated back to office and paid his salaries, arrears, and other benefits for the period he was out of employment. This is a question that will be asked to the Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection by the member for Teso North, Honorable Oku Kaunya, and it will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Labour. Also, the member for Malava, Honorable Malulu Injendi, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning to provide, or whether he or she could provide, the list of constituencies that received a share of 4.9 billion Kenya shillings by the National Government Constituency Development Fund through the second supplementary estimates during the 2021-2022 financial year, and further list those that did not receive any funding. Again, the member for Malava will be posing a question to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, whether the Cabinet Secretary could further explain when the 2.9 billion Kenya shillings balance will be disbursed to the remaining constituencies, considering that each constituency was to receive approximately 13 million Kenya shillings to enable the completion of stalled projects. These two questions by the member for Malava to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. If you're just joining this live broadcast, is that currently is a 10-minute quorum bell that is underway.
Proceed and ring the bell for another 5 minutes, an additional 5 minutes.
Quorum bell. Currently, the quorum bell is still underway. The House has not achieved its requisite number at the commencement of the House business. So members still have the opportunity to get into the chambers, of course, to enable the House begin its business this morning. The member for Imenti North, Honorable Abdul Dawood, will also be asking the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning to explain why the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation KBC employees who retire have to wait for over 2 or more years for their pension dues to be paid. This is a question by the member for Imenti North to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning. One, seeking to have the Cabinet Secretary explain why Kenya Broadcasting Corporation KBC employees who retire have to wait for over 2 or more years for their pension dues to be paid. Also, the Cabinet Secretary to further explain why the former KBC employees who received the lump sum amount never received the monthly pension on time. Members are walking in, as you can see on your screen. The quorum bell is to enable the members to walk into the chambers. According to the standing orders, the House cannot start its business or commence business of the House if the House does not have the requisite quorum. So the bell will be on until the House achieves its quorum. At the lapse of 10 minutes, another 5-minute quorum bell will be granted, at which at the lapse of the 5 minutes, if the quorum of the House has not been achieved, then the Speaker shall adjourn the House until the next sitting without question put. So currently is a quorum bell, and this is to allow members to be able to walk into the chambers. Remember, it's a chilly morning. It's a chilly morning, and the weather is a bit cold out there. But at the same time, House business has to go on. So the quorum bell will be on until the House achieves its requisite number, or if the Speaker will adjourn the House until the next sitting. On the questions to be asked by the Imenti North Member of Parliament, Honorable Abdul Dawood, to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning. The third question will be, could the Cabinet Secretary expedite payment of monthly pension dues to an officer, that is a former KBC employee who is yet to receive his pension dues from August 2022 to date? And the last question that this member will be posing to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning is on what measures the ministry is putting in place.
Honorable members, you can see we have a challenge with quorum. Honorable members, the time being 9:51 a.m. This House stands adjourned until Wednesday, the 16th of November 2022 at 2:30 p.m.
Well, the fourth chairperson of committees, Honorable Farama Alim, who was the temporary speaker for this morning sitting at the National Assembly chambers, has just adjourned the sitting, of course, owing to the fact that the House has failed to achieve the requisite quorum at the commencement of the House business. And this is according to the standing orders that when the House does not achieve its quorum at the commencement of the House business, and of course at the lapse of the 10-minute quorum bell and yet another 5-minute quorum bell, then the Speaker shall adjourn the House until the next sitting. So as you can see on your screen is that members are walking out of the chambers after the Speaker adjourned the House owing to the lack of quorum for the House. This is until this afternoon's sitting as directed by the Speaker. So members will be coming back to the chambers in the afternoon for the afternoon session, but as it is now, members are walking out, of course, following the adjournment of this morning sitting. This has been a live broadcast brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. I will now hand you over back to the Broadcasting House for normal programming. See you later in the afternoon. Good morning. My name is Kamche Menza.
And I think Oliech has a lot of atonement to do, because for a phase in his career, he was the bad boy in the sport, he was the bad boy in our entertainment scene.
What do you mean he has atonement to do?
He should.
You sound like a priest confessor.
No,
Yeah?
what I'm saying, I'm not.
I'll tell you why the World Cup is so special to me. My father, ambaye pia alikuwa mlevi hapo West, my late
spoil your father's.
No, it's not. He carried a big color TV. This is during the Maradona World Cup. He brought a big TV home. He climbed the roof with an antenna. He set it up. And when Maradona scored that goal, I think it was June 23rd, 1986, my father held that TV and he shook it with his shoulder shaking. And he shook it and he said, Diego, Amanda, Maradona.
Yes.
Then he turned back and he had tears.
Oh.
And you know, that's the softest I ever saw him. And I think I fell in love with the World Cup that day. And I thank KBC again,
Yes.
as you have been doing across the weeks, but
Yes.
sincerely,
Yes.
for bringing it to Mashinani
Yes.
for free to Kenyans.
Yeah.
Elliot, you hear the bell as well?
Hey, what are you doing?
I want to put my disguise on. After all, he knows me as his disciple Echo. He won't recognize me as a girl.
today on, you'll be the 17th disciple of mine, Lord Echo. Echo. Come and let me see you.
Tisela, please, I love you. I love you, and you know you come first on my list. You are the woman I chose and with whom I want to be with.
Well, I don't think so.
If you were only a bit wiser and used your head, you wouldn't have gone to spend all the money that I gave you. Going on a spending spree at a public place, how dare you do something like that? I can't believe how stupid you are.
But it's unbelievable that a woman such as you are, a woman who claims to have great experience with people with the same disease as Mrs. Raquel, has led her to this state.
Liana. Wait, what are you saying?
That you were supposed to study and that you were going to stay at the Murat's house.
So you mean you were spying on me?
Oh, no.
Alikuwa anapeleka watu World Cup. Nikashangaa, pia mimi naweza enda. Akaniambia kila mtu anaweza enda.
Alama na ulimi.
Hakusema hiyo.
Uliuza mende ngapi na panya ili upate pesa ya kwenda Katari kuona mpira?
Niliuza mende 10, panya 5 na ikauza kunguni mingi.
Sasa huyu disaidi bunaleta. Umechekia taju kila kitu ni empty. Took it first money from the chairman. And then Nyamasa naongea. Wewe.
Niambia mimi nyamaze.
This time on the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 preview series, it's the last dance for one of the greatest ever. We're with Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal. But first, it's Lionel Messi and the 2021 Copa America champions, Argentina.
Hoy en día la selección argentina es un interrogante.
No importa si Argentina no lo gana.
Es una pregunta. Si sabrá la respuesta una vez que participe en el próximo campeonato del mundo.
Lo que importa es que Argentina lo puede ganar.
Bueno, claro, eso es algo que todo el mundo tiene en la cabeza, pero tenemos que ser conscientes que gana solo uno de 32, que el argentino sabe que este equipo va a dar todo hasta el final.
Lionel Scaloni, en quienes muchos no tenían mucha fe, y me incluyo, cuando él fue nombrado, y todos los observadores dudábamos que sea un proyecto a la larga, digamos, parecía como una solución interina.
Para nuestro entrenador Lionel Scaloni, el viaje a la cima fue rápido. 2 años como asistente, primero en el Sevilla y luego con la selección nacional, fueron sus únicas experiencias como entrenador antes de ser empujado al puesto más alto en 2018.
Cuando uno decide ser entrenador, al final es por vocación o porque le gusta, y más allá de la categoría donde dirija, siempre la pasión es la misma. Es verdad que yo empecé, digamos, en lo más alto, que es la selección argentina.
Lo más importante que aportó Scaloni fue la unión de grupo. Yo creo que es un técnico joven, pero lo mejor que tiene es una gran persona.
Argentina se clasificó al Mundial segundo después de Brasil. Se clasificaron invictos.
Pero bien, hicimos una buena clasificación, creo que para arriba, y bueno, estamos bien, ahora estamos confiados, y aunque falta para el inicio del Mundial, creo que estamos sabiendo realmente lo que queremos.
Ha rendido y ha rendido muy bien. Es un equipo solidario, un equipo inteligente para jugar y un equipo con atrevimiento.
La escaloneta ha probado varias formaciones y ha probado varios jugadores. Me parece que esto de la alineación es un poco fantasioso y que lo que realmente importa es la sintonía entre los jugadores. El recién llegado que hay que mirar con muchísima atención es claramente Julián Álvarez. Pero también hay personajes maravillosos como Cristian Cuti Romero.
Y reconozco que De Paul, por ejemplo, es uno de los que tiene que estar en este equipo, que es uno de los más importantes.
Un balance muy interesante entre los jugadores más establecidos y los nuevos. Ángel Di María, para mí, un jugador superlativo. El Diego Martínez es un ser que ha entrado en el corazón profundo de los argentinos. El Diego inspira confianza en el público, pero inspira confianza en sus jugadores, en sus defensores.
Emiliano Martínez fue galardonado como arquero del torneo en la Copa América 2021. Junto a Martínez, el defensor Nicolás Otamendi y Messi, Di María y nuestro máximo goleador conjunto en la clasificación, Lautaro Martínez, jugando en la delantera, es un equipo de experiencia y calidad que esperamos puedan seguir los de nuestros héroes del pasado.
El primer mundial del que tengo memoria real es 1978. Y fue como un respiro, como un destape realmente. Fue una verdadera fiesta. Y el Mundial de 1986 fue el segundo destape, la segunda euforia nacional, podemos decirlo, donde Maradona ya está completamente afianzado como una leyenda viva, logra en unos pocos minutos, en un partido justamente contra Inglaterra, empersonar un despliegue total de todo lo que el fútbol puede ser, digamos, el horror y la gloria, la trampa y la genialidad, la belleza y la eficiencia. Son unos minutos inmortales en la historia del fútbol mundial. Esa fue la última vez que Argentina ganó. Una sensación entre los argentinos de que Argentina merece estar entre las grandes potencias del mundo. Por lo tanto, es un poco una desilusión no haber vuelto a ganar un mundial desde 1986.
Incluso el genio de Messi no ha sido suficiente para llevarnos a otro título de la Copa del Mundo.
Soy Julián Mastrangelo. Mi abuelo Hernán Vicente Mastrangelo fue muy conocido el año pasado porque era el fan de Messi. Las hojas de mi abuelo tienen su historia. Anotaba los goles mano a mano, uno por uno, para estar conectado con Messi.
Es simultáneamente imposible e inevitable comparar a Messi con Maradona. Son, casi diría, opuestos, yin y yang. Pero claramente la comparación con Maradona, para bien o para mal, ha sido parte de toda la trayectoria de Messi. Y sí, seguramente que lo ha pesado. Comienza a haber un desfasaje entre el Messi que juega para Barcelona y el Messi que juega para Argentina.
El 25 de noviembre de 2020, Diego Maradona falleció a los 60 años. Para Argentina y para Messi, después de la muerte de uno de los mejores jugadores de la historia.
Y de cierta manera, es como que en su madurez se liberó. Casi que la muerte de Maradona le permite a Messi verdaderamente, digamos, emerger. Yo a veces lo pienso a él como un gusano que se convierte en mariposa.
Bueno, yo creo que él ahora disfruta porque también es verdad que cuando va pasando el tiempo uno se va teniendo más experiencia y va disfrutando más y los partidos lo afronta de otra manera, en vez de subirse.
En el 2021, Argentina terminó una racha de 28 años en la que no había ganado ningún título internacional importante y ganó la Copa América, el primer trofeo internacional importante de Lionel Messi con la camisa argentina. Para Lionel Messi fue como cerrar un debate, que no había ganado nada con Argentina. Pero para él, creo que efectivamente fue como decir, listo, ya puedo descansar.
La verdad que bueno, fue una inyección de ánimo para todos. El equipo a partir de ahí se soltó y juega con mucha más tranquilidad y estamos la verdad que contentos porque se ganó, pero bueno, sabiendo que hoy ganás y mañana otra vez empieza otro partido y pensar a preparar otro partido. La verdad que lo que sí que ayudó a que el ánimo sea mejor, ¿no?
Argentina,
En el Mundial el grupo de Argentina es Arabia Saudita, México y Polonia. Y un poco se cree que esto es un grupo fácil, eso es mito.
La gente que dice eso para mí no tiene realmente conocimiento del fútbol, saben lo que es un mundial, que saben que son 2-3 partidos solamente y pueden quedar afuera, la gente da, así que tenemos que tener muchísimo cuidado y ir a comer a nuestros rivales.
Que Argentina quiere jugar un mundial por Argentina, más de todo, no solo por Leo en este caso. Y bueno, si se puede hacer contento a él también, estaríamos hablando del combo bueno.
Hay una expectativa, hay una gran expectativa, se pueden lograr. Habrá que esperarlo.
Argentina qualified for this World Cup scoring 27 goals in their 17 qualifying games. Lionel Messi and Lautaro Martinez shared the top billing as the country's lead scorers with 7 goals each. Since Lionel Scaloni became Argentina coach in 2018, the country has lost just 4 matches, the last of these in 2019. They're currently on an unbeaten run of 35 games. Argentina may be hoping that it avoids Germany in this tournament. They've been knocked out in 3 of the last 4 World Cups by the Germans, twice in the quarter-final and in the 2014 final. Argentina's opening game against Saudi Arabia will be played at the iconic stadium in Lusail. The stadium is the largest in Qatar with a capacity of 80,000. The two teams have never previously faced each other at a World Cup.
November like never before. Mouth-watering programs. Mazda takes a break, and in comes football extravaganza. And a bouquet of the best of movies from the Orient lined up for you. Oh yes, November 2022 is like never before. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Elliot, do you hear the bell as well?
Hey, what are you doing?
I want to put my disguise on. After all, he knows me as his disciple Echo. He won't recognize me as a girl.
From today on, you'll be the 17th disciple of mine, Lord Echo.
Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam akawakomesha na kuwashauri kuwa wajihurumie nafsi zao kwa sababu wale ambao wanamuomba si kiziwi, hivyo basi hawahitaji kupaza sauti zao wakiomba dua.
Tegemea Allah. Mimi hakuna mjanja wala mwenye nguvu isipokuwa kwa msaada kutoka kwa Allah. Huwezi kufaulu mambo yako isipokuwa kwa msaada kutoka kwa Allah. Medina, Medina, Medina Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Medina, Medina.
They're heading to Qatar hoping to send their greatest ever off in style. This is Portugal.
Cristiano Ronaldo já conquistou tudo na sua carreira entre clubes e seleção. Falta apenas um Mundial. Ronaldo tem como Mundial a sua última grande conquista.
Que toda a parte do mundo onde a gente vá, se a gente diz que é português, vão logo buscar Ronaldo.
Como jogador, não tinha receio de enfrentar ninguém.